She met him at a time when her life felt unfinished, like a sentence waiting for meaning. He didn't arrive loudly. He came quietly, with patience, with words that felt safe, with promises that sounded like home. She didn't fall all at once. She leaned in slowly, carefully, believing love was something you built, not something you rushed. And so she built him a place inside her that no one else had ever touched. He listened when she spoke. He remembered the smallest details. He made her believe she was seen, not just looked at. In his presence, she softened. Around him, she allowed herself to dream out loud. She imagined a future without fear, without doubt, without endings. She gave him her trust before she even realized how precious it was. People around her said she was lucky. They saw her smile more, heard her laugh louder. They didn't see the way she adjusted herself to fit his world, the way she slowly placed his needs above her own. She told herself that was love. Sacrifice. Compromise. Devotion. She didn't know yet how thin the line was between loving someone and losing yourself. He promised consistency. He promised honesty. He promised that she was enough. And she believed him, not because she was naive, but because she chose faith over fear. She gave him her time, her loyalty, her emotional safety. She gave him access to her vulnerabilities, her past wounds, her quiet insecurities. She trusted him with everything she was. There were moments, small, almost invisible, when something felt off. A delayed response. A sudden distance. A tone that changed without explanation. But she ignored those moments. Love, she told herself, required patience. And patience meant silence. So she stayed quiet. She stayed hopeful. She didn't know that while she was building a future in her heart, he was already creating cracks in it. She didn't know that love, when unbalanced, can slowly turn into a quiet form of destruction. At this stage, she only knew one truth. She loved him deeply, purely, and without conditions. And she believed he loved her the same way. The change didn't happen overnight. It crept in slowly, disguised as stress, excuses, and emotional distance. He became less present, even when he was there. His words lost warmth. His attention wandered. She felt it, but she didn't confront it. She was afraid that naming the problem would make it real. He started protecting his phone like it held secrets she wasn't allowed to touch. Conversations became shorter. Affection became rare. When she asked what was wrong, he said nothing was. When she asked for reassurance, he said she was overthinking. And slowly, she began to doubt herself instead of him. She blamed her sensitivity. She blamed her expectations. She blamed her heart for wanting too much. She didn't realize that love should not feel like constant confusion. She didn't realize that loyalty doesn't require proof, and honesty doesn't create anxiety. The truth existed long before she discovered it. It lived in the emotional absence, in the way he stopped choosing her, in the way his energy belonged somewhere else. Infidelity didn't enter her life as a confession. It entered as neglect. As comparison. As emotional abandonment. When she finally sensed another presence between them, it shattered something inside her. Not because she didn't expect it, but because she had hoped she was wrong. Still, she stayed. She stayed because love had taught her endurance, not boundaries. He denied first. Then minimized. Then justified. And she listened to every explanation, searching for a version of the story where the pain would hurt less. She accepted partial truths because full honesty felt unbearable. Each day, she felt herself shrinking. She became quieter, softer, more careful. She learned how to love him without asking for much. She learned how to survive disappointment without tears. She learned how to stay, even when staying hurt. What she didn't know was that love should never require self-erasure. But by then, she was already too deep, loving someone who was slowly destroying her, while convincing her it was her fault for feeling broken. She knew the truth now. Not all of it, but enough. Enough to walk away. Enough to protect herself. Enough to choose dignity over pain. And yet, she stayed. Not because she was weak, but because love had tangled itself around her sense of worth. She remembered who he was in the beginning. Or who she believed he was. She held on to memories like evidence, convincing herself that the man she loved still existed somewhere beneath the damage. She told herself people make mistakes. She told herself love means forgiveness. He apologized in fragments, changed briefly, promised improvement. And every small effort felt like hope reborn. She clung to those moments, ignoring the pattern that followed every apology. She became addicted to potential, not reality. Her heart lived in constant contradiction, loving someone who hurt her, missing someone who was still there, grieving a relationship that hadn't officially ended. She learned how to smile through pain, how to act normal while breaking inside. She stopped talking about her hurt because it made him uncomfortable. She stopped asking questions because she feared the answers. She carried the weight alone, believing that if she loved harder, things would heal. But love cannot heal what honesty refuses to face. And slowly, she realized she was fighting for someone who wasn't fighting for her. Still, she stayed. Because leaving felt like failure. Because loving him had become part of her identity. She loved him through betrayal. Through lies. Through emotional abandonment. She loved him even when he made her feel invisible. And in doing so, she lost pieces of herself she would never fully recover. Yet, she believed love was worth the pain. She believed endurance was proof of devotion. She didn't know yet that love should never demand suffering as evidence. The end didn't come with closure. It came with exhaustion. One day, she simply realized she was tired of breaking silently. Tired of hoping. Tired of waiting for someone who had already left emotionally. She didn't stop loving him suddenly. Love doesn't disappear like that. But she stopped abandoning herself for him. And that was the beginning of her healing. She walked away without drama. Without explanations. Without asking to be chosen. She finally understood that love should feel safe, not painful. That loyalty should be mutual, not one-sided. She mourned the future she imagined. She grieved the woman she used to be. But she also found strength in survival. She learned that loving someone until the end does not mean staying until you are destroyed. He lost someone who loved him completely. She lost someone who couldn't love her properly. And in that truth, she found peace. She didn't hate him. She didn't wish him harm. She simply chose herself, for the first time.